Hey everybody, welcome back to an episode of the 3 Count Super. I'm War Machine MJ, and I'm here today to talk about NXT and NXT UK before and after Worlds Collide. Of course, Worlds Collide took place Royal Rumble weekend down in Houston. Yes, Houston. Yeah. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, shall we? We start today's episode off with the January 22nd episode of NXT. We kicked off the show with GYV, the grizzled young vets, which is represented by Liverpool's #1, Zach Gibson, and of course his tag team partner James Drake, as they took on the NXT Tag Team Champions, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, the Undisputed Era, in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic semifinals. This was a damn good match. I love both these teams. I love this match. I had just this big stupid grin on my face watching these two kick the shit out of each other and, well, out-heel each other. But of course, GYV got the win after a unintentional assist from Imperium, making themselves known. But yeah. So Undisputed Era was bounced out the tourney as the grizzled young vets would move on to the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Next up, we had Toni Storm taking on Io Shirai. And this was a fairly competitive match, even though Toni Storm was working a bit heel. Toni did, however, get the victory by disqualification because Bianca Belair came in, laid her out, laid Io Shirai out, and of course Rhea Ripley came to get her a piece, and, well, Rhea got more than she bargained for. Next, we had I would call this a match, but it was clearly one-sided. Joaquin Wilde getting his ass beat by Finn Balor. Yeah, Finn just beat the holy hell out of Joaquin. Even trash talked at the camera during the whole affair. Balor, of course, got the win with the shotgun drop kick, coup de grace, and Bloody Sunday combination. Put this boy to bed with absolutely zero offense. Next, we had Shayna Baszler taking on Shotzi Blackheart. Of course, this stemmed from Shotzi eliminating Shayna in the women's Battle Royal, number one contendership Battle Royal. And Shotzi had a nice little showing at first, but then she got completely overwhelmed and outclassed by the Queen of Spades as Shayna made her fade with the Kirifuda clutch. Sorry, I kept wanting to call it Coquina, but Coquina is different. Next, we had the other semifinal match in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic as Imperium took on Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle, the Broserweights, or joint manipulation, if you will, because that works on two levels. You know, joint manipulation is style wrestling that Pete Dunne does, and joints is what Matt Riddle partakes in. Anyway, this was a fantastic match. The Broserweights won clean as a whistle. Just clean as a whistle. They had a little bit of stare down with GYV, setting up the match for the following week. And finally, in the main event, we had bask in his glory Keith Lee challenging Undisputed Era Roderick Strong for the North American Championship. What a match. These two beat the hell out of each other. Of course, the Undisputed Era did get involved, but they were hilariously turned away by Keith Lee. And Yeah, Keith Lee put away Roger Strong to become the new Limitless North American champion. Bask in his glory. And Keith Lee didn't get long to celebrate to bask in his victory, as Imperium stormed the ring, had a vicious faction warfare brawl between the two, between the two sides, which led to Adam Cole just getting a massive chop, which just echoed throughout Full Sail like a gunshot. Oof. So now we move on to the January 29th edition of NXT. Of course, this was post Worlds Collide. We did a review of Worlds Collide, so go check it out on our channel now, please. We kicked the show off with Finn Balor taking on Trent Seven. Of course, during Worlds Collide, Finn Balor basically pounced on a tired Johnny Gargano, just beat the hell out of him until Mustache Mountain's Tyler Bate got involved and just kind of kept the two sides separate. And because Tyler Bate is, well, Trent Seven's mate, no rhyming intended, Finn Balor cornered him in the parking lot, pinned him between the door and between Trent Seven's car and his car door, told him to keep his nose out of his business. I work on Wednesdays. I'll see you there. So that led to this match. And before Trent Seven could get in the ring, he does that slow roll into the ring from the apron. Balor just drop kicked him off the apron, and yeah, it was to the races. But however, in the end, Trent Seven succumbed to the coup de grace into the Bloody Sunday DDT. So yeah, that was an alright match. Next we had Shotzi Blackheart as she strolled into Full Sail with her mini tank as she took on Deonna Purrazzo. And this was an alright match. Both these ladies really had their chance to shine. However, it was Shotzi Blackheart who put away Deonna Purrazzo with a senton splash. Next, we got to hear from the Limitless North American Champion Keith Lee, and he got his first taste of challengers. As first, Damian Priest came out there and made it known that he takes what he wants, albeit material possessions or women, which it's heavily implied that he's Mr. Steal Your Girl. And then out came Dominik Dijakovic, of course, an old foe of Keith Lee. But yeah, both Dijakovic and Priest made it known they want NXT Championship Gold, and that led to both of them throwing hands. And when we came back from commercial, it was an official one-on-one match between the two of them. Just two big bastards kicking the crap out of each other, doing things that they shouldn't do. There was even this nice little spot where they both kicked each other with a Cyclone boot. However, it was Dominik Dijakovic that got the victory with the Feast Your Eyes. So he is pretty much jockeying for another shot at Keith Lee. Next, we had contract signing between Adam Cole and Tommaso Ciampa for TakeOver Portland. Before the proceedings, Ciampa made it known that he was going to eliminate some extra factors. Of course, he took out Kyle O'Reilly, Bob Fish, and Roderick Strong. And then, while Adam Cole was figuring out what the hell was going on, Tommaso Ciampa just casually carried the table to ringside, set it up, spray painted a big old X on some bitch, and then demanded Adam Cole made his presence known. Adam Cole made his presence known, of course, followed by William Regal, who the two of them were chatting about Adam Cole's next defense, Adam Cole said, "I got this," grabbed the contract from Regal's hand, went up to the apron, smacked Ciampa in the head with the microphone, right on the point of the head, I might add, and the two of them got to brawling, which led to Adam Cole getting put through the table on the Yellow X. Tommaso Ciampa then picks up the contract, signs it, and there's a nice stream of blood pouring down the center of his face, to which those sick bastards at Full Sail were basically telling Ciampa to sign it with his blood. So he just took a nice smear of blood and just smeared it on the contract. Signed, sealed, delivered, and in blood. That's how the Psycho Gillard does things. Next, we had a one-on-one match between Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai. Of course, Tegan Nox has been waiting to get her hands on Dakota Kai after Dakota Kai's hideous actions at War Games, trying to put Tegan Nox on the shelf. Time-wise, there wasn't much of a match, but content-wise, there was a good chunk of the match. They fought all around ringside. Finally made their way back to the ring where Dakota Kai tried to play a little dirty with a steel chair. She reared up, ready to take out Tegan Nox, until Candice LeRae stepped in and just yoinked the chair from Tegan Nox, from Dakota Kai, my bad. And while the referee was distracted with Candice LeRae, Tegan Nox picked up her knee brace and just clocked Dakota Kai with it, getting the victory, and finally getting her just reward, getting her payback on Dakota Kai. Next, we had Kayden Carter taking on Chelsea Green of Robert Stone Brand. This was an alright match. Kayden Carter got the advantage early on by just drop kicking the mess out of Chelsea Green. However, in the end, Kayden Carter got a surprise win over Chelsea Green. So, good for her, but fortunately her troubles are just beginning. And finally, in the main event, we had the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We had the grizzled young vets, the team of Liverpool's #1, Zach Gibson and James Drake, taking on the Broserweights, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne. Yeah, this was a fantastic match. Both these teams just beat the hell out of each other just for that coveted prize. However, in the end, the Broserweights got the victory, and they are the winners of the 2020 Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, and they will go on to take over Portland to challenge the Undisputed Era for the Tag Team Championships. So yeah, that was NXT from January 29th. It was a banger of an episode. Pretty good. Next, we move on to NXT UK, the 23rd edition, January 23rd edition, where we kicked off the show with General Manager Johnny Saint and Squid Scala, British Tom Hanks, presented Walter with a brand new NXT United Kingdom Championship. It is no longer branded as the WWE UK Championship. It is the NXT Championship. And all I got to say is, about time. Anyway, yeah. Basically, Walter said, we have a brand new championship. We need a new one since the last one was sullied by Tyler Bate and sullied by the mouth of Pete Dunne. So, yeah. And then he made some big talk about how they're going to beat Undisputed Era at Worlds Collide. Of course, they did. Next, we had a qualifier match for the Fatal 4-Way Cruiserweight Championship match at Worlds Collide, as Jordan Devlin, the Irish Ace, took on Ligero. This was an alright match. Of course, the Irish Ace got the victory. He punched his ticket to Houston. Next was Ilya Dragunov taking on Josh Morrell. Of course, Ilya got the victory. Afterwards, Joe Coffey put Ilya Dragunov on notice. He basically said, after you finish your business with the Prince, you and I have a score to settle. Of course, Ilya Dragunov inadvertently cost Joe Coffey his title opportunity at Walter. So yeah. Next we had the final qualifier for the Cruiserweight Fatal 4-Way as Travis Banks took on former Cruiserweight Champion and the man with the plan, Brian Kendrick. Of course, the Kiwi punched his ticket to Houston. And that's how we closed out the January 23rd edition of NXT UK. Now for the January 30th edition of UK. Oh, okay, alright, there we go. Thought the page was going to reset. Next, we kicked off the show with the Brit AM connection as Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan got set to take on The Hunt. Of course, Burch and Lorcan got the victory. If you haven't done so already, follow Oney Lorcan on Twitter. That man he's a riot. All of his posts are just top class stuff. Next, we heard from Eddie Dennis, who basically took pride in beating up Trent Seven. Of course, throwing Trent Seven into a camera guy on at Blackpool 2. Of course, Trent Seven wants his payback because Eddie Dennis cheated to the victory. So he basically told him he wanted him in a street fight match with all four corners exposed. So that's going to be a killer. Of course, they got to scrapping, and Trent Seven stood tall as he chased off Eddie Dennis. Next, we had Isla Dawn taking on Nina Samuels it was an alright match. Of course, Isla Dawn got the victory. Got the victory over Nina Samuels with a half and half bridge suplex. Nice to see her nice to see Isla Dawn rack up a victory. Next, we had Tyson T-Bone taking on Rich Holland, the former Luke Mimsy of NXT. Of course, Rich Holland got the victory over Tyson T-Bone in a whatever match. Next, we had six-man tag team action as Marcel Barthel, Fabian Eichner, and Alexander Wolf of Imperium took on Mark Andrews, Flash Morgan Webster, and Dave Mastiff. This was an alright match. It was pretty good. However, due to some interference from the NXT UK champion, Imperium got the victory over South Wales Subculture and Dave Mastiff to stand tall. So yeah, that was NXT UK from the 30th. So that's all for this episode of 3 Count Super. Remember, if you miss Rod's opinions but not his face, he has a podcast where all you get to hear is his face. You don't. You get to hear his face. You don't get to see it. It's Prime Talk with Rodimus Prime on the CastBox app. Go check it out. He's probably gonna talk about the Super Bowl in this coming episode. So that being said, I'm War Machine MJ of the 3 Count Mafia, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.